from San Diego, California, this is the Frug Life Podcast, the show that teaches you how to save, invest, and earn money. Here's the host, Mr. Frugal himself, Ricky Hirsch.
Now, this episode was titled 2024 State of the Podcast, and I don't think I released it, but honestly, the situation hasn't changed very much. So Spotify for podcasters did away with ambassador ads. So that is the host-read ads. That's where the Anchor ad came from that everybody loved. And well, I guess that era kind of ended a while back for me. I hadn't had any sponsor-read ads on Anchor or Spotify for podcasters for quite a while. It's a bit sad, and I wasn't really sure what direction to take the podcast in. And, with news like that, it was tempting for me to just give up and end the podcast. It was a good run, and all my recent attempts at new revenue sources for the show haven't panned out yet. I even, for a little bit, had a Fiverr gig where I would do your ad on the show, and that didn't produce any money. And I'm streaming right now, and that's yet to produce any money. So mix that in with diminishing download rates, it was all looking very grim. The one light at the end of the tunnel is that they are unveiling or testing a new ad platform on Spotify. It's dynamic ads. I think it makes a lot more sense. I think host-read ads don't really work for very small podcasts. And so just dynamically inserting these mass ads automatically really makes sense for a small podcast. And so apparently I was banking on those dynamic ads coming in and helping me. And that hasn't happened yet so far. In fact, the requirements to have ads on Spotify for podcasters are pretty onerous, and they only care about Spotify. They don't care if your show is big on Apple Podcasts or any of the other podcasting platforms. They care only about Spotify. And my show wasn't built around Spotify, and so my listenership on Spotify isn't very good. So that previous best idea for the podcast really isn't that good of an idea. What might actually help is the release of my upcoming book on personal finance. So you might know I already have one book on personal finance. I'm releasing another one sometime this year. I just need to get my editor through it. The book's written. So hopefully that comes soon, and hopefully that brings in some much needed revenue for the show, because otherwise the show is doing very badly. This podcast was brought to you by Leafbound Review, where you can get a free review of your book for free. Go to leafboundreview.blogspot.com for more information. Welcome back. So I've tasked Gemini with helping me provide more of a status update on the show. So here we go. I'm going to blind read the script to you. Hey everyone, Ricky here, back with the Frug Life. Welcome back to the show, where we explore practical strategies for living intentionally with our money. It's early April 2025 as we are recording this, and I've been doing a bit of reflecting lately. 2024 was a significant year for the Frug Life, and I wanted to make this episode to share some of what went down, what I learned, and what you, the listeners, have helped make possible. For those who might be newer to the show, the Frug Life started with a simple idea: to share my personal journey and insights into building a life of financial freedom through mindful spending and smart choices. 2024 felt like a real turning point in that journey, and for the podcast itself. Interesting, a little generic, and also not really the situation at hand, as you heard. Alright, I'm just kind of skimming through the rest of this. I also experimented a bit with the format of the show. While I've always preferred the direct no interview style, I did introduce a few segments where I shared listener questions and offered my perspective. I don't think I actually did that, did I? This felt like a great way to connect with you all on a more personal level and address the specific challenges you were facing. The feedback on those segments was really encouraging. Yeah, none of that actually happened, but thank you, Gemini, for thinking that it did. Gemini says that there was growth in the community with more engagement on social media. Wow, that would have been nice. I'm going to share more personal anecdotes and insights. Or I did share more personal anecdotes and insights in 2024. Okay. Behind the scenes, I learned a lot about the podcasting process itself. Oh, interesting. And different marketing strategies. Okay, so scanning through the rest of what Gemini wrote, it was just utter nonsense. I think I said it before. Gemini and generative AI is a predictive text tool. It seems like it doesn't actually know anything. At least in this case, it doesn't really understand the Frug life, although it picks up some details here and there, right? Like the show doesn't have interviews. It picked up that. But mostly it just kind of creates a story in its mind that it thinks is plausible and shares that story as if it was true. Now, this episode of The Frug Life quickly is turning into an episode of Ricky Rambles, my other podcast that I've cross-linked here on The Frug Life from time to time. Anyways, let me know what you think about the show. I think I announced it in the other segment, but there's that listener survey coming out soon, so look out for it. Although, you know, on Frugal Time, things take a while to do. Well, thank you for listening to today's pretty strange episode of the show. I hope you enjoyed, and we will hopefully get back to regularly scheduled content shortly. Thanks for listening, and as always, stay frugal.